These are the pictures that make the news when a riot breaks out in Kenya, grueling pictures of police officers on the offensive, the aftermath to which has seen human rights and other officials descend on the police force with such accusations as abuse of human rights, with many others expressing concerns that the police may be going at it the wrong way. But are they? The answer to that question pegged on two words: riot management.
In recent years, we have seen a lot of evidence of very poor management of riots. I must admit that. But then this is very closely tied to training. This is very closely tied to equipment.
Here's the textbook manual on riot management. First, when a crowd control unit gets ready for a riot, the first thing it does is put on protective gear known as a hard tack. That gear, as seen from this unit, comprises of a helmet with a face shield, body armor and body shield. Secondly, numbers, effective as it allows police officers to stand in lines that effectively act as barriers. Thirdly, negotiate with the rioters, done especially by pinpointing the riot leaders and talking to them. When that fails, intimidate the rioters. But this is how Sergeant Bauer of the New York Police Department defines intimidation. Even if the officers themselves disagree with the opinions of the protesters, they are trained to maintain an unbiased attitude. That's part of America. You are allowed to have a voice. The officers try not to look at the protesters as enemies. Instead, they recognize that they are part of the community that the police are entrusted to protect and serve. And when all fails, and it usually does, use force but proportionately. This a manual the Kenyan police is yet to go through, and this is the aftermath. A police unit that not only lacks in basic riot management training, but that is usually thrown into the deep end inappropriately armed and few in numbers and left at the mercy of a mob.
From where I'm seated, I'm not sure that a police officer himself is a victim of circumstances or not. Because when a society gives a firearm to an individual, they should also undertake to ensure that that individual has the skills, the mental attitude, and overall the capacity to use that firearm for the purpose of common good and nothing else.
The police resource pool is also constrained, with only 70,000 police officers managing a country of 40 million Kenyans, a ratio of 1 policeman to every 570 Kenyans on average, deemed inadequate.
The levels of violence in our society have gone very high. The levels of disobedience to the law should alarm any criminologist. That does not excuse excessive use of force on police officers. A police service is supposed to be continuously reviewing its equipment of riot management. A police service is frequently expected, it is there in our manuals, to do drills together.
Psychologically, such challenges as poor housing continue to leave a policeman unsettled in one way or another, seeping through to his profession for a man that has not been trained to remain objective during such tense moments. What the police spokesman likens to creating a bitter, angry beast and then handing it a weapon.
The minute you leave a police service to be overwhelmed, the minute you are not giving it enough resources, that is the kind of policing you'll continue receiving.
Such the worrisome situation that can no longer be left unaddressed, especially by a force deemed to provide one of the most fundamental requirements to any population: law and order.
No amount of rhetoric will excuse us as a country from establishing a credible, civilized and competent police service. It is expensive, it takes time and resources. It will not be done in the hotels, it will not be done on TV screens.
Evelyn Wambui, KTN Weekend Prime.